Welcome to Formula World. I'm your host Dylan Shelley, and here's what's on this episode. First up on Formula World, Ricciardo sets World Championship deadline. Daniel Ricciardo understands that his move to Renault is a long-term project, and when asked when he expects to be able to be World Champion, this is what he had to say. 5 years ago, 2014, I believe I drove well enough to be World Champion that year, so for me it's already overdue. But now, starting this next journey, realistically, I would say 2021. I want to be World Champion that year. And when asked what this means his goals are for the next 2 seasons, he had the following to say. I think a few things. As a team, to get their best result possible. I don't know now what their best result is the last few years, but if it's 6th, I want to be 5th, for example. I also want to prove to myself and to other people that it was the right decision. I guess to prove some people wrong. Verstappen calls early critics bullshit. Earlier this year, Max Verstappen was struggling to convert his race weekends into high points paying results, but his recent run of form has changed that, and Max himself has looked back at that time and criticised the way the media were portraying it. Most of it was just very unfair, so of course at one point I get tired of it. I know what I can do, it was just not coming out at the time, so I was working very hard at home to make sure it did come out. And then in Canada it did. I think I just needed a break from the bad string of results. Verstappen was also quick to point out the fact that Sebastian Vettel, despite a poor run of form, hasn't been receiving the same type of criticism he was receiving. You see, even a 4-time world champion can make mistakes like that. People saying I had to change my driving style, to me that was all big bullshit, to be honest. They don't tell Sebastian to really change his driving style. I've never seen the headlines like that. Alonso should leave right now. Being honest, if I were Fernando now and I was struggling to finish 15th, maybe I would leave right now before the season ends. He does not need this. He does not have to be there because he is not part of their plans next year. So why keep him there until the end of this season? Maybe it will be better to let him go. And Massa also thinks that Alonso may end up racing full-time alongside himself in Formula E instead of the IndyCar route many think he will take. We've heard he was thinking about IndyCar, but now I'm starting to think that Formula E may have more chances of attracting Fernando than IndyCar. Doing the Indy 500 is a different story, but to do a championship, I think Fernando may look at Formula E, and I would not be surprised if he decided to come here. Kimi calls Vettel criticism pointless. This season has seen Sebastian Vettel's title hopes slowly diminish in recent races, and many people have pointed the finger solely at the German driver and saying it was his own personal mistakes that have cost him the title. But his teammate Kimi Räikkönen defended Vettel in his usual matter-of-fact approach, calling any such criticism pointless. I don't know if he made a lot of mistakes. Germany, he went off, but then it was pretty tricky conditions. I don't know if that really dictates what happened in the end results. It's hard to say. There are always people trying to point fingers here and there or say this is why he didn't win. You know, if you want to point fingers on someone, there are millions of things you can say. He should have done this like that and the end result would have been different. But afterwards, it is very easy to always say that. You take 10 years backwards, you can point, oh, you should have done that differently and you would have won. It's pointless. Fast feed. Williams deputy team boss Claire Williams has come out saying that their decision to sign George Russell was purely a decision made on the talent that George has. Niki Lauda has been discharged from hospital after 3 months of recovery following a lung transplant. Former world champion Nico Rosberg has come out saying if Toto rang and said, do you want to have a day driving in the new cars, I would think about it. Ferrari team boss Maurizio Arrivabene recently came out saying it was my decision to not re-sign Kimi Räikkönen. Lewis Hamilton, when speaking of Mick Schumacher, says there will 100% be a Schumacher back in Formula 1. And Carlos Sainz said after speaking with Hamilton that he gave me confidence when discussing his move to McLaren. There'll be no Formula World fans react in this episode today because on the previous episode I asked for you to give me questions for my upcoming Q&A video. So we'll jump right to this episode's question. Will Ricciardo be fighting for the title in 2021? Be sure to vote in the poll by clicking the eye icon in the top right corner of this video, and be sure to let me know what you think in the comments. And a special thanks to Blaze Hope and KC Croker for becoming Formula World members and helping support the channel. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos for all the latest in the world of Formula 1.